Hello and welcome back to a new season of interviews here on the SkyTemple podcast. My name is Yakumon, coming to you as always from down under in Australia. It was a great pleasure co-hosting the podcast with Max Shersey back in 2022, and it's something that I've personally wanted to continue doing. The feedback I've gotten from my fellow hack creators has been loud and clear too. You want more interviews and more chances to be interviewed, and so by popular demand, the SkyTemple podcast is coming back. This round of interviews won't be hosted by Max and myself, however. After the Hack of the Year stream earlier in 2022, Max has decided to move on to other projects outside of PMD hacking, while I am dedicating most of my time in continuing development of my own full-length hack. Never fear, however, as we have a very capable host who will take over the reins of this operation. For this season, podcast interviews will be hosted by Smingle. Smingle is a hack maker in his own right, releasing a demo for his own creation, Infinite Labyrinth, last year, as well as being jury for Hack of the Year and for Hackjam 5, which as of recording was just finishing up. His first interview has already been recorded and released, however since then we've arranged to re-release it here and have future interviews uploaded as official SkyTemple podcast episodes. Well, that's pretty much it for me. On behalf of Max and myself, we hope you enjoy this new series of creator interviews. Time now to jet off to jolly old England with your host for Season 2, Smingle.
Hello everybody and welcome to the first in a new series of podcasts where we will be interviewing the creators of the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon hacks made using SkyTemple for the 5th Hackjam. My name is Smingle and I could not be more excited to be hosting this podcast. God damn, I am so excited. We'll be starting off this series by interviewing JP, the creator of the hack Trials of the Person, where you, as the protagonist, must face, a more hands-on interpretation of the usual personality test. Right, I am joined by JP. I say hello, JP.
Hello.
Yes. How are you doing today? You alright?
I'm alright. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good today, actually. I'm doing very well. Are you looking forward to this?
I am really looking forward to this. I'm kind of excited, but also a bit nervous. So please, please be nice. I guess.
Don't worry about that. That's totally fine. Right. So yeah, you are the one who made Trials of the Person, aren't you? Yeah. How did just give me a general overall at the beginning. Like, how did that go? Are you happy with it? Are you proud?
I would say I'm proud of it because it's like the first full hack I did. Like I released the demo in April. I only started in April with SkyTemple in general, so I'm quite happy to see how far I've come, I would say. Like the cutscenes are not really that special, but I'm proud to say at least that I finished something that I could participate in the Hackjam and be a part of this whole community event, which was really, really cool to be a part of, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I really do think you should be proud of it. I was very impressed. You know what my first two questions were? The first one was, is this the first hack you've made? And the second one was, how long have you used SkyTemple for? So there goes both of those.
Sorry about it.
No, it's totally fine. It's saved a bit of time, so that's fine. So cool. You've only used SkyTemple since April, is that right? And you've released a demo of something else. Is that what you said? What was the demo about?
It's not really a demo that's on SkyTemple. It was a kind of play test thingy that I posted in a channel on the Discord server, which was then criticized by Gleg.
Good old Gleg. All right.
It was Glegged. So,
okay. Yeah,
but
enough.
I was really glad about it.
Excellent.
Because I got a ton of feedback on how I should structure my cutscenes better, on how to handle text better, or in general, just how to do a hack a bit better. Because it was my first try at anything. It was a little story about a Tyrogue.
Okay.
So I'm quite happy that I made it, because without the advice I would have gotten there, I think many of the things that I did in Trials of the Person wouldn't have succeeded the way they have. or I wouldn't have done the things that I tried to do in Trials of the Person.
Oh, cool. Okay, so that first one really helped you then, getting advice from certain people. 100%. Nice. Cool. Well, so did you always know you were going to be participating in this hack jam? Then were you? You sort of saw it advertised and just thought, okay, this is the time I'll make a big old hack that I'll release. Were you there for the announcement video and such?
I was there for the announcement video. I also knew that the hack was approaching fast, but I was kind of unsure if I wanted to enter or not, because the weeks where we had to do the hack were quite stressful in university for me, as I'm a university student right now.
Right.
And the idea for Trials of the Person was even made back in April. So I was like, okay, if I had one or two ideas, and if one of these ideas fits the theme of the hack jam, that I could even realize the hack that fits this theme, then I'm going to participate, and otherwise probably not.
Oh, I see. So you had the idea for the hack before the hack jam actually started, but you just were hoping it was going to sort of fit in well enough. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So where did the inspiration for this hack come from? And where did that original idea come from?
It was really random. Like, I was making this little Tyrogue demo beforehand, and this idea began to pop up in my head. Like, what if there was something different in the beginning of the personality test? I don't know how I thought about it, but I thought about it. And then I tried to think about games that I liked. Like, I like Undertale a lot. And you can clearly see the inspiration for that in the beginning, even of the game. And I thought, okay, then I liked a bit of symbolism. I like the Shin Megami Tensei series. So I thought, okay, kind of symbolism there. And then I decided on the 7 Deadly Sins and the Virtues as the starters. And then it just fell into piece.
Nice. Yeah, well, I think it came together really well. So that's I don't want to say you were lucky that that the theme was so perfect for your hack, but it certainly came together beautifully.
It's quite right to say I was quite lucky that my idea seemed to fit perfectly into the hack jam, like the fixed rooms and the memories.
Yeah, wow. So the memories was definitely going to be a part of it before you knew what the theme was. Then that was that was always going to be part of it. That there was the original human called Mirai. That there was always going to be sort of memories going back to them.
Yeah, like it wasn't wholly planned out. Like the name Mirai or what the backstory was going to be wasn't planned out.
Okay.
But this idea that you get your human memories to sort of, at the end, judge yourself if you would fit to be a hero or not, was always going to be the theme of it. Like, This was the end goal that was there from the beginning.
Nice. So where did you get the name Mirai from then, actually, just quickly?
It's just, as far as I know, I could be wrong, which would be kind of embarrassing. But as far as I know, it's the Japanese word for future, and I wanted to use it because of in the main games we have the human from the future. So I thought this would be a nice link towards that.
Yeah, that's really good. I like that a lot, and I can't confirm nor deny whether or not that's accurate, but I love it. Excellent, good stuff.
Thank you.
So let's talk about sort of the contents of the hack itself. You've got the different trials, and there's I suppose there's 8 different ones, really. How difficult was it to come up with the contents of each trial? How because you can do a lot with fixed rooms, but to come up with 7 different things for each fixed room, was that difficult? Was that process difficult, or was it pretty easy to just sort of take this in and think, what's the suitable trial for this?
It was a mix, kind of. Like for the first trials, like gluttony, lust, sloth, and pride, those were actually my very first ideas. So the order of the trials are in the order in which I got the ideas from.
Oh, so really? Okay.
This kind of tells you something, because I wanted to mix it up also a little bit, that you don't only have this static of the starter order, that it's not this static, that if you choose humility, you get a special dialogue immediately, that it's a bit mixed around.
Yeah, in my replay, I chose chastity, and I got the special dialogue in the last one, which was fun.
Yeah.
No, I think that's really cool, and I remember I did get unique dialogue in my first playthrough, but I think I was patience. Is that right? Anyway.
Yeah, you were patient. You were Marini.
Yeah. Cool. How difficult was it to come up with the riddle that came before each trial? Because those riddles were really, poetic and unique, and I really enjoyed them. So how difficult was it to come up with those?
It was the most difficult part of the hack, I would say.
Really?
Oh yeah. It's even more difficult because I did a translation in German.
Right.
For the hack. And to have the same meaning, kind of, but it also still rhymes and brings across the message on what you have to do, was the most difficult part to figure out somehow.
Yeah, that's not surprising. I forgot actually for a moment that you've translated this into German as well. Obviously, goodness, blimey. Yeah. So to come up with a riddle that works in both languages must have been very, very, very difficult.
It's not exact translations for the riddles, at least, because that would have been way too much.
Yeah, but it gets across the same message.
I would hope so. I haven't got any feedback from other Germans, so I hope that it gets the message across. But this was also a problem, even in English, in some cases. So I don't know if I succeeded even in that.
I'm sure it's fine. Cool. So how did you choose the Pokemon to represent each sin? I mean, some are pretty obvious. I feel like Snorlax and Slacking are pretty good shoo-ins. Lopunny is lost because rabbits are what they are, and for no other reason. But I'm interested in. Yeah, of course. But I'm interested in. In particular, I'm wondering about Ursaring, because I am not 100% on that connection there. How did you choose Ursaring for Pride?
Okay, so I'm going into the general idea of how I chose the sins, because I set a limitation in the beginning that I tried to meet, and that was that I wanted the sins all to be normal type.
Oh.
Because I thought it would have been kind of cool to see that the sins are nothing that crazy like a fire dog or something with the power of darkness, and instead be something completely considered normal even in universe, but the Pokemon fit into this role. This was kind of my idea to kind of normalize the sins and not paint it as wholly bad. That's those
really
are still human aspects, and that's why I wanted to paint it as kind of normal.
Yeah, I
didn't. What the idea I was going for.
I didn't even notice that. I feel bad, like a bad critic at this point. I didn't even realize.
No problem. There was a lot of thought behind it, and I didn't expect anybody to see anything that I did. Like, I didn't even expect people to see the clear pictures or something, for example. So.
Right. Well, I thought I think that's really interesting. I think that's a really good idea. I really like the idea of them all being normal types to show how sort of normal it is to have the sins, if that's the right idea. So Ursaring was just because you needed a normal type then?
Yeah, and it kind of seemed like, I don't know if it's just me, but Ursaring kind of seemed like this Pokemon that could resemble Pride the best in normal type aspects. I thought about maybe Pure Ugly. This was also an option for Envy, though, at the time, because I didn't think about Ditto, to be honest.
Oh, I see.
And then I was like, Ditto transforms literally into other Pokemon. How could it not be Envy?
Yeah, I think Ditto was a great choice for Envy. I think that was a perfect chew-in.
Thank you, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, for reminding me that Envy can transform.
Yeah, I thought about that as well. I thought that was good. My next question was, were you inspired by Undertale at all? But I think we've covered that one.
Oh yeah, Undertale is such a big inspiration.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely fair. I saw I think I recognized two different Undertale sort of inspirations in there. There was the the text at the beginning, but there's also choosing to kill or to spare Taurus at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, yes, that was a very good reference. I like that. I thought that was good for Wrath. I'm afraid in my first playthrough on the VOD, I completely failed that trial. On my
Yeah,
replay,
but it was
I got that one right.
But it was a idea I also had that you just had to fail it. But then I thought, okay, but it still had to test you if you could even defeat it in theory. And then you should choose. It's like in Undertale: The Battles, where if you lose your health, you are done for. But if you spare continuously, you still win the battle, even if you don't attack. So that was my thought going into it. But I can understand how if you don't immediately get the reference because it's not apparent at that stage yet when you fight Taurus, that you would think, okay, if I lose, then I'm probably going to win. So that was a fair thought.
Okay, cool. That makes sense. Yeah. So there are the 7 trials, and then there's also the dungeon at the end.
Yes.
The Pokemon in the dungeon that you have to go through, they're kind of. Can I ask you how you came up, how you chose which Pokemon to go in that dungeon at the end?
Of course. So it's a total of 15 Pokemon in the dungeon. Each floor has 8 Pokemon inside of them. I randomized it so that you have always kind of different set of Pokemon inside of the floor.
Okay.
And the Pokemon that I chose for it was kind of a mixture. I chose Pokemon that I thought would vibe well with the environment there. For example, like Cubone or Houndour, sort of this Pokemon that deal with grief or death even, kind of symbolizes death. Sorry about that. or Pokemon that kind of connect to emotions, like we have Kirlia, which is literally the emotion Pokemon, Indeedee, which is funnily enough also literally an emotion Pokemon.
Are they really? Oh gosh.
And it's those are the Dex categories. These Pokemon
go
under.
I kind of Violet is also in there. I thought Violet was a good inclusion for that.
Yeah, Railu also was this kind of thing that also we have some ghosts, which I took the ability for away from them that they can walk through walls because that's just frustrating.
Yeah, that is quite frustrating. Okay, I understand that choice.
That's why I took away this ability, and the ghosts are there because they're kind of scary. You're in this whole another dimension, and you're kind of afraid of that. But also kind of technology, like Beldum or Rotom, kind of symbolize how Mirai, the original human, kind of got lost in technology or lost technology with their video games. We have Grimer, which is for, of course, the dirty thoughts or the dirty behavior of the human. How you want to interpret it is up to you. We have Braviary, which kind of is this idea that the human has, at least in my thought process, it was this thing that you want to be the best at the game. You're such a brave, good warrior or player in your game. This is what drives you forward. So this is the Pokemon that stood out the most in the dungeon, I think. And this was the reason why.
Okay.
So that's the kind of thought process that went into it.
Okay, cool. I like that because I was when I first went through it, it seemed to me that it was just sort of mystical-ish Pokemon. But now that you've explained it, that makes perfect sense. So there's lots of different aspects of the sort of human nature, sort of symbolized in different Pokemon throughout the dungeon. I like that. That's cool.
Thank you.
As for the starters you can choose, obviously it's which one you get is based off which sort of personality trait you choose at the beginning, or for instance, patience or humility.
Right.
How did you choose those Pokemon in accordance with those traits?
So it was kind of a mixture of things. Like the 7 virtues are the opposite of the 7 deadly sins, so I thought this was a nice thing to do. And for example, humility is Sunkern because of its abysmal base stat total.
Okay.
That's kind of my thing for it. Charity is Eevee because Eevee, the Pokemon able to give you one of 8 different forms. And it's one of the littler Pokemon. This was the one I'm the most unsure about because originally it was going to be Delibird, but Delibird didn't fit the whole aesthetic of the starter Pokemon that you traditionally have in Mystery Dungeon.
Right.
So you should opt for Eevee. Then Chastity is Nincada. This is going to be a bit longer, but
Okay.
Nincada is one of the only species up to Gen 8 in Pokemon that was unable to learn the TM Attract, but Pokemon that were able to learn all TMs were most likely able to learn Attract.
Oh my god, really?
Pokemon with genders that could not learn Attract. And one of those was Nincada. And this was one of the Pokemon that had portraits and sprites to it. Another choice would have been Larvesta, but it didn't have a sprite or portraits complete at the moment, I believe.
Okay.
So that wasn't chosen. But this was my thought process behind Chastity. Like a Pokemon with a gender that does not learn Attract.
That's really funny. I like that a lot. Okay.
Then Patience was because of the stall Toxapex had in Gen 7 and Gen 8.
Yeah.
Competitive Smogon singles.
Yeah.
And I thought it was kind of funny, to be honest.
Yeah.
At first it wasn't Marini, but it was Clamperl. Because Clamperl also seemed like a patient Pokemon with its pearl inside of it in its shell and coming out of it later. But then I thought of Marini and saw it had sprite and complete portrait set, and I was like, okay, it has to be Marini. Kindness, Clefairy, because, okay, are we going to be honest? It's one of the Pokemon associated with the healing.
Yeah, that one feels pretty obvious, I should think. Yeah.
Yeah. Then Temperance is Esper, because as Esper, you would probably say
Esper,
sorry about that. Yeah.
No way.
Because it's the restrained Pokemon, and Temperance and Restrained are sort of synonyms for each other. So that was the most fitting one for that. And Diligence was Scorbunny, because as we can see, it evolves into a pro footballer or soccer.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. You know, you've got to have a lot of diligence to practice for a sport, so that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. In the beginning, when I still thought that Larvesta was possible, it was Riolu itself, and Riolu wasn't going to be in a dungeon, because I thought, okay, to practice Aura was also kind of important, but then I wasn't keen on the idea of a fighting type when all the Sins were normal type.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to balance that out a bit, even if it wasn't the main aspect of the trials, of course.
Okay, that's
but
cool.
Yeah, that was my thought behind the 7 Virtue starters.
Did you playtest through the game as each of the starters as well, or did you skip one of them maybe?
What I did was I made a debug script kind of that I used and later on deleted. But in the last room before the dungeon, because the dungeon was the most important part for me to test, I set up that when you load the game again by the Kangaskhan statue, that you get the choice again to choose which starter you are, and the moves, everything ggets adjusted. And then I played through the dungeon and the boss fight with all of the starters, so that I knew, okay, what do I have to adjust? And this was how I found out, okay, Marini's moveset was shit at the beginning, or Clefairy's moveset. Literally every moveset besides Scorbunny or Eevee was dog shit at the beginning.
Really?
If I can be a bit vulgar, yeah. And Eevee had to be nerfed because of its ability, because it had adaptability at first.
Really strong.
And yeah, and the boss would 2-hit you consistently with tackle, and that's just not fun. If you have to heal up every move, and it's just not possible, because the boss fight the thought behind the boss fight was that in the path of reflection, you have to kind of collect all of these items to kind of get the upper hand over yourself, over Mirai. Because Mirai has exactly the same stats as you.
Yeah, quite a bit more HP though. Yeah.
Besides HP, every stat is exactly the same.
That's cool. I like that.
That was the thought behind that you have to get the upper hand with the items.
Okay, yeah, I like that, because it really is a mirror match otherwise.
And that would have been a bit boring if you could just two-hit KO yourself. A bit anticlimactic.
A little bit, maybe. On my second playthrough, I played through as Ninkada, as you might have guessed. I found his moveset to be really quite strong, actually. Dig is my favorite move in the whole series, just as a general rule. So I really enjoyed having that. And with String Shot as well, I found that mirror match actually to be very easy. I didn't use any items for it. But that's just me bragging at this point. This isn't a very good interview.
No, I can kind of get that. String Shot was kind of meant to be this dungeon balancing thing, because in the dungeon there were quite a few Pokemon that could really hurt. And Ninkada didn't have many options against some of those Pokemon, so I thought, okay, String Shot to slow them down and then flee, because the dungeon kind of forces you to run away from most encounters because you don't get experience, so you're only going to be wasting items if you engage in too many battles.
That's true. Yeah, I think it was a really well balanced dungeon, so I think you can give yourself a pat on the back for that.
Thank you. Dungeons are so hard.
They really can be very difficult.
Hopefully, Sang likes it more.
Yeah.
At least he did really well.
Maybe. Speaking of dungeons, though, I remember I can't remember who figured it out, but someone figured out that in the Gluttony dungeon, you're playing like a separate version of the of your starter, because that's what let you walk through corners of walls and such.
Okay, so what I did for Gluttony, because I don't know any ASM.
Yeah, neither do I.
And in Gluttony, your belly depletes way faster, because that was the idea behind it, that you have to kind of work against your belly, that you don't faint before you can leave. And to achieve this, I made separate versions of every starter that were exact copies of the ones we already have, but they have the ability to walk through walls. Okay. Then I copied the tile set from the Nightmare, copied and pasted it so that the floor tiles or the wall tiles look like the floor tiles.
Oh.
And the chasm tiles look like the wall tiles.
Oh, that's so smart.
And then I replaced that, of course. And basically, you're just walking through walls and chasms in Gluttony. But because of this change and aesthetic change, you don't realize this immediately. So that's why you can cut corners in Gluttony only.
How come you can cut the corners, but you can't cut the walls themselves, though? Is that?
That's because you can make them unpassable.
Oh, in fixed rooms, sort of thing.
In fixed rooms you can make them unpassable.
Okay.
Or being able to be walked through. So that's kind of the thing that I did. So I'm kind of sneaking around my limitations. I
feel a need to compliment you on your massive brain, JP, because I certainly wouldn't have thought of that myself. Good stuff.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
I was really close to posting a support thread about how I can change the belly rate in only one dungeon, but then I got the idea and I was like, I don't have to do that anymore.
Nice.
Yeah,
cool.
Thank you.
So, JP, you had 3 weeks to work on this, and I now know that you had the idea sort of in your mind, maybe not solidified or scripted out or anything, but you had it in your mind before the 3 weeks started, so you were able to get working on it straight away. Do you have any other ideas for important memory that maybe that you wouldn't have had straight away, but like maybe, I don't know, a couple of days in or something like that, you would have thought, oh, maybe that would have been a cool idea as well, or if there was another Hackjam with the exact same theme, maybe I'll do this instead. Do you have anything like that?
I'm going to be completely honest. I don't have any other idea.
Really?
Okay, we run with that, and that's it.
Maybe, really?
Oh, wait, never mind. I had one thing in my mind which was kind of important memory, but important memory that didn't happen. It would have been like an alternative universe where you get the memory of important things that happened in the original timeline, but then didn't happen. But that would have been way too big. Like it was an idea that I immediately realized if I tried to do this, I never would have gotten this finished.
Yeah.
It would have been a timeline where the human in the future didn't really arrive, and the bad thing happened, and Grovile had to work with the original partner in the future, stuff like this.
If that feels like a very, very grand idea, I don't know if you would be able to do that in 3 weeks. Not
that would have been way too big.
Not to put limitations on you, but I don't think anyone could have done that in 3 weeks. That sounds that sounds tough.
That was the thing, and then immediately was like, that's nothing for a Hackjam. It's not an idea for a Hackjam.
That's something for something else, maybe. But speaking of the 3 weeks, though, so you were able to get started straight away once the 3 weeks started. But if you had more time, for instance, if you had maybe 5 or 6 weeks, would you have done anything different? Would you have changed anything about? But pretend you were working on it with the same ferocity, the same urgency, and not gone slow because you had more time. But pretend you had 6 weeks and you had the same amount of drive to do it as soon as you could. How different do you think it would have been? Do you think you would have changed quite a lot of it, or do you think maybe sort of the idea you had just works as it was? So you would have created the exact same thing, but maybe just tightened it up a little bit more? Or what do you think you would have done?
I think that the broad idea would have stayed the same, but I think that maybe I would have done not one dungeon, such a short dungeon, and more like maybe 2 dungeons, with a bit more story spread around that. Okay. I don't know how I would have implemented them inside of the story.
And what kind of dungeons would they have been, or would they have been more of the same, or would they have sort of explored different parts of human nature?
It would have probably explored more, maybe more thematic. Maybe one would have been the bad side of humanity, and one would have been the good side of humanity, I guess.
Okay.
Like Pokemon associated with bad stuff like Houndour, Poochyena maybe, but in the good dungeon you have something like Togetic, or maybe Curlia again.
Yeah.
Or Riolu. But I can't say for sure what I would have done in such a situation.
Oh well, no one can say for sure. But yeah.
But yeah, that's probably what I would have done. Excellent. Or I feel like I would have done.
Okay, cool. So, JP, why will Trials of the Person be the winner of Hackjam 5?
I mean, to be completely honest, I don't believe it will be.
Oh, don't say that. You can't say that.
But I guess I haven't played too much of the other hacks, so I can't say how much Reaching for Myself did, for example.
Right.
Maybe the thematic aspects with the sins or the virtues on how they are implemented inside of the trials themselves. And in the memory aspect, how you have a different order depending on how you do in the trials and in the questions, and how you get the ending. Maybe that would have been what got me to win if all the other hacks wouldn't have been also very, very amazing.
Yeah, I mean, all the hacks have been very, very strong.
All of them that I played are so good.
They're so good. I mean, huge props again to everyone who submitted for this year, and I think it's been amazing. I think I really, really enjoyed being a judge on this so far.
I also enjoyed just as a viewer or participant, just to see what other people came up with the themes that we were given. It's just so interesting to see other ideas.
It is fascinating, isn't it? It is absolutely fascinating. The sort of broad scope of ideas people have had thanks to the theme and gimmick. Are you looking forward to? Are you looking forward to next year's, or I suppose the next Hackjam? I don't know how often they are. I think they're bi-yearly. twice a year. Maybe that's what that means. Are you looking forward to the next one?
Probably. Oh, of course. I'm really excited for the next one because I feel like if you have this time frame or an idea and gameplay aspect given to you, it's so much easier to get an idea and actually get the work done. Because I don't know how it's with you, but if you have a hack that can come out whenever, you tend to be okay. I can do this next week. I can do this another time. I should do this first.
You don't have to tell me that. I know that all too well.
But in the Hackjam, there's this urgency to get it done quick, but also to get it finished. So you have this whole product finished, most likely. I know some of them are demos that were released, but that's, I think, the idea behind the Hackjam, that you have short, complete hacks done in this short amount of time that can be enjoyed on their own. And to be able to have this constraint that you don't have to do this full-length hack, that a short one is okay, and that you can do this, and you have ideas given to you that you can interpret it how you want it to be. I don't know, it's just really, really cool to do this, and it's really refreshing and kind of liberating that you don't have to put these limits on yourself, but other people giving you sort of this exercise to do, which kind of spawns you on.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. I think it's really, really good, and I'm really looking forward to the next one. I guess I'll participate in the next one. Oh, that's a question as well. I have you participated this year as a solo act, if you will. Are you in the next one? Do you think you'll do that again, or do you think you'll work in a team next year, or for the next one?
I can't really say, to be honest. I would say most likely I'm going to be working alone again.
Okay. Do you prefer working alone, or?
I don't know. It's just that I can get my thoughts best across if I know that I did it myself. Okay. Sounds kind of weird, I guess, but...
No, I get it.
But to get across what you want to do and what you want others to see from your hack is that you do it by yourself. Probably, I could think that maybe I'll ask someone to do maybe some sprites or something like this, or background work, I could imagine, because I can't really do this. Like, I tried it to some aspects, but that's so difficult to do.
Yeah,
like, I have trouble just...
art
is so talented.
It's art. It's so difficult. I could even say, well, if you win, you'll get a custom sprite made by a Funny Kekleon meme. So maybe you'll use that to work towards the next Hackjam,
Probably, but to be completely honest, I have no idea what I would even commission, because I didn't think that Shario had, to be honest. I just wanted to make funny, just wanted to do funny game, and that's what it is.
It was beautiful, JP. So thank you very much for submitting. I'm really glad you were doing this. That's probably going to be the end for the interview. Do you have any closing remarks?
If I think about it, if someone got the good ending, just know you always will get Cynical as a partner, because that's my favorite line of Pokemon. That's one important thing that I had to sneak into the into the hack.
Yes, it was very important to sneak that in. Well done.
Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, cool. Well, it was wonderful to have you here, JP.
Thank you. It was really nice to get this opportunity from you to have this interview.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Cool. Well, anyway, okay. I don't know how to end this. Thank you so much for coming to this interview. You did really well. Thank you so much for being here. And I'll
thank you for hosting it.
Yeah, thank you. You're very welcome. And I'm looking forward to the next thing you release. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. See you, JP.
Good. So, goodbye.
Well, wasn't that a delight? What a swell guy. I hope you guys enjoyed that, this first episode of this new series of podcasts. The next episode will be interviewing Okami, the creator of the Lonely Road series, as well as the hack Outlaws Paradise, a Lonely Road story. I hope you guys are looking forward to that episode. It was a really nice interview, so I think you should really look forward to it. And I'll see you guys then, alright? Goodbye, everyone!